Welcome. In this video I'm going to be taking a look at this Crosize universal socket. So this was provided to me by the distributor, but they're not compensating me for this video and they're not reviewing it before I post it. If you find this video helpful, I'll put a link to this in the description on Amazon, and if you use that link it helps me out a little bit and doesn't cost you anything extra. So this says universal socket here. It says premium chrome vanadium steel multifunction adapter set. It goes from 1/4 inch to 3/4 inch and from 7 to 19 millimeters. Here's some examples on the side. You have wing nuts, looks like hooks, odd-shaped bolts, I-screws, hex nuts. This is some kind of odd-shaped fastener. That's a T-bolt, I think. And I don't know what the last one is there. So let's take a look at this. So this comes with a socket, and it also comes with a hex to 3/8 inch drive adapter for a drill. So here we go. So the way this works is it has all these pins and it pushes in to make it conform to whatever shape the fastener you're using is. So I don't know that a professional mechanic would replace all of their sockets with a universal socket like this, but this is handy to, say, have in your car, your RV, someplace where you don't want to carry a whole socket set. This could also be used in a vacation home, student's apartment or dorm or something like that. This is great for small tool sets where you don't have a lot of room, but you want some versatility. So I've got a couple different fasteners here we can try. So here's a 3/4 inch bolt there, and that takes up the whole thing. So this is essentially based on a 3/4 inch socket. So I don't know if you could take off 3/4 inch or 19 millimeter lug nuts with this. If they weren't too tight, this might work in a pinch. And here's a smaller one here. So you can see those pins conform to whatever you put into it. Here's a much smaller here, so you can see it grips it like so. But this will also grip things like a hook. So if you put a hook in here, you can see those pins go on either side and it grabs it. So that's a nice way to put in these hooks. If you put these in by hand, it may not be too hard, but a lot of times you might want to put in 6 of these things and they can just wear your fingers out trying to turn these back and forth. So you can use pliers, but then you have to open and close the pliers all the time. This is just the perfect tool for putting these kind of things in, because it fits right on there, it grips it nice and tight, and you can thread these into whatever you want to thread them into. Of course, this comes with the adapter too, so you can hook it up to a drill. There. And of course you can hook it up to a ratchet too. So I just wanted to give a close-up of this at the bench so I could kind of show how it works, but let's take a look at this actually doing some work. Okay, I'm under the hood of my car here, and there's some bolts here. So you want to take the socket, we'll press it on there. There we go. And you can see it's not necessarily in the middle of the socket. I tried to put it in the middle, but it kind of moved to where it wanted to be. And there we go, we're loosening it up. Of course, I can tighten that down too. There we go. Now, this is a potential limitation here. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, so that doesn't quite fit on there. So depending on your battery terminal orientation, you may or may not be able to, say, loosen terminal nuts. Although I think I could do these here. Let's try that. That's a little too long. Of course, that's difficult to do with a traditional socket. You really need a deep socket for that. So here's a 10 millimeter. I'm not going to loosen all these up. I'm just going to see how it fits on here. So that does fit. That's kind of close to the body here. Here's the windshield wiper motor. Fits on there. Here's the hood hinge mount. I don't know what you call that, but it fits on there. Here's a grounding terminal. That's something you might fix on the road, like if that was loose. Here's a durability test for you. So you could potentially have a loose ground. Okay. It's fitting tight on there. So there are quite a few nuts and bolts under the engine that this will work on. Occasionally there's one that doesn't have enough clearance, but that's just the case with working on cars in general. Here's a bigger bolt down below. Fits on there nicely. Now here's a lug nut on a different car, and that's definitely not going to fit. It has this kind of ball here that keeps it from pressing in all the way. Although I know a lot of lug nuts don't have that, and it might fit on there in an emergency, if you don't have any other way to get the wheel off, certainly you could try this. Okay, so now I'll put the adapter in it. I'll connect it up to my drill. And I've got some different size hooks here. Let's try these. So your best bet here will be to start them by hand. Okay, so let's tighten these down. Wow, that was very easy to do. So I did pre-drill these. I think you need to pre-drill holes. I don't know if you could do it very well without pre-drilling. It would probably wander all over. But that was pretty fast. If there's one downside of this, when you're covering this, it might be a little hard to see at what angle you're at. Of course, if you can kind of go to the side, I was standing above it and covering it. Or you could just stop just short of your goal and then finish it off by hand or whatever. But if you have a lot of little hooks and eyelets and things like that, this is a great tool for inserting those. I think it works way better than pliers does. So that's the Crosize universal socket. That's all I'm going to cover in this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you like this video, please click like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate if you could do that. And thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.